Osama bin Laden was the founder of the militant group Al-Qaeda and is widely considered one of the deadliest criminals in modern history. His life from his early beginning to his death played a central role in shaping global terrorism and conflicts. He was born on 10th March 1957 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. His full name was Osama bin Muhammad bin Awad bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was born into a wealthy and influential family. His father Muhammad bin Laden was a Saudi construction magnate with close ties to the Saudi royal family. His mother Alia Ghanem was his father's 10th wife. After his father's death in a plane crash in 1967, he inherited a portion of his family's wealth. He was one of 52 children from his father's multiple marriages. Bin Laden attended King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where he studied economics and business administration. During his time in university, he became increasingly drawn to Islamist ideologies and was influenced by radical thinkers. Bin Laden's early exposure to the ideas of Sayyid Qutb and Abdul Azam, two key figures in the development of modern jihadist ideologies, played a major role in shaping his worldview. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, leading to the Afghan-Soviet War. Bin Laden saw this as a call to arms to defend Muslims against the Soviet occupiers. He traveled to Afghanistan in the early 1980s, where he began organizing and financing Jihadi fighters to fight against Soviet forces. At this time, he gained the admiration of many for his commitment to the cause and his ability to provide financial and logistical support. Al-Qaeda was formally founded in 1988 by Bin Laden and his associates. It was initially intended to support the Afghan Mujahideen and provide a network for future jihadist operations. Bin Laden's time in Afghanistan marked the beginning of his path to global terrorism. After the Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan in 1989, Bin Laden focused on expanding his influence and organization. He formed Al-Qaeda, which means the base in Arabic. Al-Qaeda aimed to unite Muslim fighters around the world under a single banner to wage a global jihad against perceived enemies of Islam, particularly Western powers. Bin Laden's philosophy was rooted in Salafi jihadism, which calls for a strict interpretation of Islamic law and the use of violent jihad to achieve political goals. He also founded training camps in Afghanistan to prepare fighters for global jihad, where he trained militants to carry out terrorist operations. Bin Laden's rise as a prominent jihadist figure coincided with the increasing presence of the United States in the Middle East. The Gulf War and the subsequent deployment of US troops to Saudi Arabia deeply angered Bin Laden and many other radicals, who saw the US as an occupying force in the Holy Land of Islam. Bin Laden publicly condemned the Saudi royal family for allowing US troops to station in the country, and he began focusing on attacking US interests in the Middle East and beyond. In February 1993, a bomb exploded in the World Trade Center in New York City, killing 6 people and injuring over 1,000. The attack was carried by Islamic militants, including individuals connected to Al-Qaeda. On August 7, 1998, Al-Qaeda orchestrated coordinated bombing of US embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing over 200 people and injuring thousands. Bin Laden was linked to the bombing and publicly declared that the United States was a main target. The most infamous act carried out by Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda was the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack in the United States. On that day, 19 Al-Qaeda operatives hijacked 4 commercial airplanes. 2 planes were flown into the World Trade Center in New York City, causing both towers to collapse. 1 plane struck the Pentagon in Washington. The 4th plane, United Airlines Flight 93, crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers attempted to overcome the hijackers. The attacks resulted in the death of nearly 3,000 people and caused massive destruction. Bin Laden justified the 9/11 attacks by citing US military presence in Muslim countries, US support for Israel and other grievances against the West. His goal was to provoke a response that would further radicalize Muslims and encourage jihad worldwide. The attack shocked the world and led to a global war on terror, with the United States and its allies pledging to eliminate Al-Qaeda and its leadership. After the 9/11 attacks, the US launched the war on terror, invading Afghanistan in late 2001 to remove the Taliban regime, which had harbored bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Bin Laden went into hiding, fleeing from Afghanistan to the border regions of Pakistan. Despite being a primary target of US intelligence and military efforts, bin Laden managed to evade capture for nearly a decade. He communicated to the world via video, messages, and audio tapes, continuing to rally support for Al-Qaeda's cause and claim responsibility for various attacks. For nearly 10 years, the US government pursued bin Laden through intelligence gathering, military action, and surveillance, eventually pinpointing his location in Abbottabad, Pakistan in 2011. On May 2, 2011, a team of US Navy, part of SEAL Team 6, launched a raid on the compound where bin Laden was hiding. The operation, codenamed Operation Neptune Spear, resulted in the death of Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden was buried at sea in accordance with Islamic tradition to avoid creating a grave site that could become a shrine for his supporters. Bin Laden's death was a major victory in the war on terror, but it did not mark the end of Al-Qaeda or global jihadist terrorism. Al-Qaeda continues to operate in various regions and its influence persists, particularly in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. Bin Laden's ideology and actions also contributed to the rise of other terrorist groups such as ISIL, Islamic State, which has carried out its own attacks and declaration of a caliphate. His death also sparked debates about the ethics of targeted assassinations, the sovereignty of nations like Pakistan, and the broader strategy of counterterrorism. Osama bin Laden's life was marked by radical ideology, violent jihadism, and relentless pursuit of global conflict with the West. He remains one of the most infamous criminals in history, primarily due to his role in orchestrating the September 11 attacks and leading Al-Qaeda, a group responsible for numerous acts of terrorism worldwide. While his death in 2011 was a significant blow to Al-Qaeda, the ideology he espoused continues to affect global security today. And to combat the harmful ideology of Osama bin Laden, the world must focus on addressing the root causes of extremism, such as poverty, political instability, and most importantly, the lack of education. Promoting inclusive education, critical thinking, and religious tolerance can counteract radical views. Strengthening international cooperation, supporting counter-narratives from moderate voices, and providing de-radicalization programs are key steps. Additionally, combating extremist propaganda online and ensuring accountability for terrorists through rule of law can help reduce the appeal of violent ideologies. Ultimately, a holistic approach that combines security, social development, and education is essential. Here comes the end of the video. Do let us know your opinion on the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.